Wouldn't it be nice if the NFL could just take a great talent like Antonio Brown and realize that the man needs help, that he might have a mental illness, and instead of putting him back out on the field to get hit more, to give him his third and fourth chance, as they put it, instead of doing that, wouldn't it be nice if they could just put the man in rehab for about a year or two, maybe 3, and him come out as a great person, rehabbed, living a normal life, and maybe even coming back and being a great player? Wouldn't that be a great PR move for the NFL? These are supposed to be smart guys, but they're doing things that's just not so smart. Let's talk about it. Woo! Well. How's it going out there today, guys and gals in Sportland? This is JPC. I am the OFC, the outlaw of college football. And this is, without a shadow of a doubt, the home of the Common Joe and Common Silent, and even more so than all those media talking heads. Now, let's get right to it. Antonio Brown had a little incident today. He tore off his clothes, run down the field, run through the tunnel, and left. And the Bucs, of course, proceeded to cut him thereafter. And normally, I would be getting on this player or getting on a player for doing these things and calling attention to themselves and throwing a fit, being just a general spastic and goof. These prima donna players that do it all the time. But this, to me, it's just totally different. I don't think this is a guy being a prima donna. I don't think this is a guy trying to show out and be an attention whore. I think this guy actually has some issues. I think he has some mental illness issues. Whether it's CTE induced, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. And the NFL, to me, should be ashamed of how they've handled Antonio Brown. You're like, whoa, wait a minute, what? You're actually taking up for Antonio Brown, JPC? Normally you grill these kind of prima donnas. Just like I said, he's not really a prima donna. And let me tell you why and what they should do. Before I get to that, I'd like to ask you to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Subscriptions are most important. They keep me up and going, keep me motivated, and bring in more of you common Joes and Sallies in the know to put us in the know. Now, getting back to it, the NFL, to me, has a lot to burden in this. They're going to say, well, we got him second, third, fourth, fifth chances to come back and do right, and he just didn't do right. That's not the point. The point is, this guy's got a mental illness because he acted normal at first, and in the middle part of his Pittsburgh Steelers career, he starts acting erratic. Just different all of a sudden. Which screams, to me, mental illness, CTE type stuff. If the guy's got a mental illness, you putting him back out on the field to get his head handed to him in a crossing pattern over the middle is not a way of giving someone a second chance at straightening their life out. Not in my opinion. The NFL could do something about this. What they could do is they could put this guy in some kind of psychological rehab with some good psychiatrists, put him in there for about a year or two. Yeah, it might cost them $300,000-$400,000. But that's just a drop in the bucket as to what these players bring the NFL and how much money the NFL makes. They don't just make millions, they probably make billions of dollars in the NFL. And you mean to tell me that if you know one of these players have a possibility of, one day they're acting normal, next day they're just acting erratic, that you can't take a little bit of your money and invest it in the mental health of these players? This guy should be treated, or at least diagnosed. At least send him to a couple of doctors, not just one, maybe 2 or 3, so you can get a real grasp of what's going on with him. Instead of throwing him back out on the damn field, oh, we're giving him another chance. We're going to put him back out on the field. Yeah, so he can make y'all money. Y'all don't give a shit about these players, man. And that's why you got a lot of them that have attitudes towards NFL ownership and even the coaches, because they don't think you care about them. Now, granted, there's a lot of NFL players out there that deserve all the bad press and all the railings and criticism from the media outlets and people like me. They deserve a lot of the shit that they get, because there's nothing wrong with them. They've always acted like that, and they've just never had any responsibility about themselves, because that's the kind of person they are. But there's some people out there that are genuinely decent people, average people that come in the NFL, not average athletically, but just average mentally, come into the NFL, and then something happens, man. Not a doctor. I don't know what happens. I don't know if it's CTE, if it's stress related, but some kind of mental breakdown happens in some of these players. And then they do stuff like this. And then eventually some of them end up killing themselves, like Junior Seau. So the NFL burdens a lot in this. And what I don't get is these are pretty smart guys to run such a big organization such as the NFL that makes billions of dollars, run entire franchises. If we can see this, why can't they see it? They preached all this and made it out to be like these guys are just being prima donnas, and a lot of us fans buy into that. I'm guilty of doing that as well. But this situation today made me take a different look at it. This guy has mental issues. He has an illness. And instead of trying to treat him, they think that giving him a second chance means putting him back on the field so he can take more hits. That makes no sense. All that is them being just downright uncaring and inconsiderate of a person's life, in my opinion. I think the NFL needs to implement some programs for these players, some psychological programs, some psychiatric help. And if it takes 2 or 3 years to do it and they're not getting any money out of these players, then they should do it, because they're making enough money that they can take a few hits. And that's all I got to say about that. If you agree with me, or if you don't agree with me, if you got a different take on this situation, drop it in the comment section. And with that, I'm going to get off of here. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. The big 4. Subscribe to this channel. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams.